Well, howdy, everybody. I wanted to offer my thoughts on the East versus West 14 event that just took place in Orlando, Florida. I was privileged to be able to attend this event, and I just wanted to offer my insights, my thoughts on the events, what I thought was good, what I thought was could be improved upon, perhaps. Just kind of go through some of the matches. First of all, I'll just say, overall, of course, it was incredible. I think anybody who even watched the pay per view would agree that that was certainly the best East versus West that's ever been done. I just think you really can't argue any other way. Yeah, I would even say by the halfway point, I would say that it was pretty clear that this was just a whole other level of arm wrestling production. I was going into it with a really high expectation already, and it certainly met and exceeded those expectations. I had been telling people, this is really going to be the Super Bowl of arm wrestling. This is going to be the best of the best. Every single match was somebody that I wanted to see, and I think most other people wanted to see as well. Just the matches were perfect. Well, all of that, just the big picture in general was fantastic. So, with that being said, just I can get into initially some of the big things. So, it was held at a hotel there in Orlando, Florida, and the venue itself was very nice, very pleasant place to be. You know, clean, nice. Lots of nice pool. Good things going on. So it's a great venue, really nice, very spacious. Didn't have any trouble parking. Um, I arrived there the day before, closer to the evening, so the tournament itself was still going on. The tournament was, I think, the only thing I heard a decent amount of criticism on was it was a little slow to start, but I think that was only, from what I was hearing, it was only because of their they did some promotional content before the tournament, which went a little bit longer than they anticipated. Which these things happen, and so I think it started. I think I heard an hour and a half late, um, and but they got through it and knocked it out and had some buddies there who were competing and they did pretty well in the classes that they entered, and so that was great. I think that was a great event. There's some after pulling I heard from some different people. So that element of the event, I think, went pretty well. I think it was a good start. To me, it was really cool just showing up because I showed up around 4 or 5 or so. So the tournament was about halfway done at that point. And man, I just walked in the hotel and I was just like, oh man, Dave Chafee's right over there, just chilling, sitting on the couch. There's Michael Todd standing over there. What was really nice, I think, was cool. Unfortunately, I didn't buy the VIP experience, and I kind of thought about it. I had already bought my ticket, and I think I don't know if there was an option to upgrade the ticket. Not there wasn't one that I saw. I think you just had to buy the VIP experience, or maybe it was considered separate. I don't know exactly how that worked, but I think they did a really good job with the VIP experience. It was really nice. They had basically kind of like a fancy dinner you could eat with all the guests, all the different people, all the different arm wrestlers. So I knew some people who were there that did that and spoke very highly of it. And you got better seating for the event with the VIP experience, and it was only the tickets themselves were $50, and the VIP experience was 200. So I think it was a good value in my opinion. Going back, I might would have probably uh, done that experience. If I had a little more time to think about it, or knowing what was offered. But I think it was really cool. Got to see a lot of guys that I knew already. Ron Bath was there, got to see him. A couple other people, a lot of Georgia guys I knew, Georgia and South Carolina folks, and I'll get into talking about some of the South Carolina guys who got to compete, which was really cool to see. But just generally that night was really nice, really good. Seeing everybody in the hotel, for those people who maybe don't get to meet some of those some of these top level arm wrestlers. It's really cool to just see them. They're just kind of walking around the hotel, getting something from the vending machine, and just getting ready for the matches tomorrow. And later that night, a lot of the folks, of course, were in the bar. The hotel had a bar. I peeked in there for a little bit just to see what was going on. I didn't really stick around. I was pretty tired, wanted to get to bed, but I heard they were in there all night. I think I heard some people saying that Travis Bagent was in there and he was putting down some beers from what I heard, which that's not too surprising. But I think some people went pretty hard. Had a good time. A couple of my buddies were in there for a bit. It was cool, going in there and everybody was just hanging out. And I mean, to me, that's one of the great parts of arm wrestling is everybody will just, you can just hang out. Everybody's real chill and, you know. So anyway, I have this thing here up in the background, and what I want to pull up is the actual events here, the actual matches. Starting here, right? We've got. I just want to talk about the actual event itself, of course. So, coming into the event, I'll say this is one of my few criticisms of the tournament, which had or the event that had really nothing to do with the event. It was the venue primarily, and I don't know if there was anything that could be done. I don't know if it was just that hotel, but the room was incredibly hot. I don't think it would be exaggeration to say it was over 95 degrees. I didn't see a thermostat, but I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I was sweating through my shirt in 20 minutes. I mean, I was sweltering. I went through like 2 whole bottles of water, 3 whole bottles of water. I mean, it was just, excuse me, really warm in there. I don't think it was for lack of trying. I don't think this like they just turned off the AC or anything. It was a lot of people in there. I mean, I was packed wall to wall. I mean, you really there really wasn't even like a way to walk down. You had to kind of go around the edge, and if you find a seat, and a lot of people were standing around in the back. I mean, they're just, excuse me, they were just standing, basically standing room only. So that's my one kind of, it would have been nice if there's some fans or something going. I don't know what I don't know if there's anything that could have been done about that. I think it was mentioned by some of the announcers and during the live stream. You might have heard that it sure is hot in here. And oh my goodness, it was sweltering. But it was run pretty good. A lot of people got there early. You basically went in a room, scanned your ticket, and you got a stamp on your hand, which I didn't realize right away. I figured it out, and it didn't take too long, so it wasn't like you were, missing out on anything. I showed up a little bit later than I should have. I was out with a buddy before I was just going to drive back and show up. I thought you just walked in and showed them your ticket. You had to get the stamp. So I think I missed maybe the first pin in the first match, but other than that, that was about it. So that was just sort of the setup. The venue was packed. It was looking cool. The stage was nice. You could see pretty good. It was a little hard to see certain points. You kind of had to look through the crowd. I mean, I had a decent seat. I wasn't like really close to the front. I was off to the side a little bit, but the screens made it pretty visible. Even if you couldn't see directly to athletes, you could see the screen pretty easily. But most of the time, I could get a decent view of the athletes. So that's just sort of the general setup. But now I wanted to talk about these matches. So these matches were fantastic. I to me there was no match I think that was not just incredible. To me, really, I think they all were top level arm wrestling, very entertaining. Um, I'll talk a little bit about the Devin Larratt versus Chance Shaw match. I know some people had some strong opinions about that one. So I'll offer some insight on that. I don't have too much to say about that. I mean, I think it was good, but we'll get to it. First up, we got Ryan versus Ray. Okay, Ryan, he's a South Carolina guy. I believe I'm pretty sure he lives in South Carolina, but he travels and pulls with Carolina Chaos, and we have 2 Carolina Chaos guys. We've actually had 3: East versus West, Adam, and now Ryan, and of course everybody. We're going to get to him in a second, Mister Hunter Noss. We'll get to him in a second, but if y'all are, I mean, this is this is the Carolina Chaos crew making themselves known. I mean, if you're not familiar with Carolina Chaos, you absolutely should be. I think it was Hunter who was they of course they're both shouting out Carolina Chaos, and if when they said, Carolina Chaos is the best arm wrestling crew in the nation, I mean, to me that is 100% the case. I mean, if you know Chad Silvers and you know Adam Warzinski and you know Ryan, I mean, half the guys over there I mean, just stacked world championships, titles. They win everything. It's a little bit of a joke down here in some of these southeastern tournaments. If you see one red polo showing up, they're all showing up, and they're showing up 15, 20 deep. They've got their polos on, they've got their shirts tucked in, and they're taking every medal in every class. Most of them are pulling 3 classes up and smoking people 3 classes up. I remember the first time I got introduced to Adam Warzinski, got to see him pull, and a lot of those guys got to pull against, see some of them, a South Carolina tournament. And I mean, they roll up, man. They just crush everybody. I think Adam pulled right and left 3 or 4 classes. I think he was 198, and so he pulled up every class. And most of those guys do that. I mean, they just can pull all day. They train a lot of ready goes. They train hard, and I'm looking forward to an opportunity where I get to go up there actually and train with them sometime. I plan on doing that hopefully. But Ryan Bellinger, of course, pulled out the win. I'm not surprised. I mean, he is just fantastic. He's incredible. He's really solid. I have yet to, I haven't pulled against him. Of course, I don't think I'd have too much to offer him, but I have some very strong training partners. Some of us Georgia guys pulled against him, and they just nothing for him. He is incredible. So let's see here. Next up, the next match right here. This Jonathan match, to me, this is where the tone started. Not that people weren't getting excited, and not that the Ryan Bellinger match wasn't good. To me, it was very good. But what I think really happened at the second match with Jonathan was there's just sort of a shift in the tone a little bit. The crowd really, I think, got into this match. I was not super familiar with Jonathan. I don't know why I haven't really heard of him, or perhaps I have seen him and just didn't realize it. But the tone shifted, I think, once America, and that was something I was looking forward to, was seeing American arm wrestlers on American soil, and that's what you'd hear a lot of them talk about in their post-match speeches, was just like, man, what a thing to have this in the USA, and what a thing indeed. But during this match, I mean, this is where I think the tone shifted. The USA chant started, and everybody was getting hyped, and Jonathan put on a great performance there. That was a great match. I was really excited about that. Nothing too interesting there. Just a solid performance. Really strong. This next match, our ladies match here, was really cool. I was not familiar with either of these two ladies, but from what I understand, I think Elizabeth she's done a lot in American arm wrestling. I just wasn't familiar with her, and she was just, to me, significantly stronger than her opponent. There was a little bit of fighting in the setup, if I remember correctly. Just trying to get a good setup there, and I think Elizabeth got what she wanted, and I think even if she didn't, to me, she just seemed significantly stronger. I don't know, I couldn't say 50% or whatever, but she seemed just to really have it in the bag, so to speak. So next up, we've got Mr. Paul Talbot here. Mr. Paul Talbot. Super excited to see him. I really wanted him to pull out the win. I first got introduced to Paul when he had a super match. Actually, it was the first time I met, maybe it was the second time I met Adam Warzinski. I believe it's the first time. They had a super match in that same South Carolina tournament. Right-handed, and Adam won, and that was one of the first super matches I got to film, so that was sort of a special thing for me. And Paul's just, he's just a nice guy. He's real well liked by everybody that I've talked to. I personally haven't gotten to chit chat with him for any extended period of time, but I ran into him at that tournament, and he's a killer. He really is. I wish people got to see a little bit more of that, the skill and the talent he has, than just getting swept. I'd love to see him again at East versus West. I think he could do really good. So a little that was a little bit disappointing, but it's still a great performance. This is one of I think the few losses that USA took during the event, but still great match. Next up, of course, we got my man Mr. Hunter Noves and Doug. Ever since I saw Hunter, I mean anybody in the Southeast will tell you this is a bad dude. Every single person will tell you this is a bad dude. Um, Incredible. A fun fact: I was looking at I think it was the little cards. I think it said he had 17-inch biceps. I think Doug actually had 18, if I remember correctly. But I mean, Doug is from what I know, from what I've heard, he's very talented, a lot of experience. But Hunter's just so good. It's crazy how good this guy is. Um, some guys I pull with, some of the best in our group, they'll just tell you, you know, they're super heavyweights, and they'll just tell you, I mean, they got nothing for Hunter, um, right-handed in particular. He is so fast, so strong, um, and he talks to talk, man. He'll call just about anybody out. I think I heard a rumor. I don't know if this was confirmed by anybody, but I heard a rumor they had put up some money uh, on the match, each of them, and so I was just excited to see Hunter win. Of course, representing South Carolina, representing Southeast arm wrestling, um, was really cool. I think most people had Hunter as a favorite. I can't, from the people that I've talked to, at least I didn't see a whole lot of other people's thoughts on the matches, but that was a fun match. That was a really fun match. It was fast. There was some good, I think, if I remember correctly, some good hook pulling. The start of the match was good, and then Hunter just took over. Man, I mean, I think it was the second match. It was like so fast. You could almost see it on Doug's face. He didn't even hear the word go, and well, he did he did hear go, but it wasn't an early hit or anything. But Hunter's just that fast. I mean, just put him down. That unique sort of style that Hunter pulls. I mean, it's just electric. Really fun to watch. Next up, Mr. Craig Tullier and Tom Holland. Craig Tullier, I had the privilege of seeing him, and actually seeing him pull at Alabama State. And if I remember correctly, he almost got a flash pin on Paul Passmore at that particular event. So I'd have to double check. I'm not going to say that 100%, but Craig Tullier, of course, a legend. I was so surprised when I met him. I was like, how have I never heard of this guy? So I was only recently introduced to Craig Tullier, but he's been in the game for a long time, really talented, and he just showed it off. He was a good bit stronger and just seeing a little more technical on the table. Um, Great match. Again, I mean, I'm just going to keep going over and over this again. They're all fantastic matches. Really, none of these were um, disappointing in any way. Even, and I'll just add this here. Even though a lot of these matches were 3-0 or 3-1, just very dominant performances, none of it felt, like just, even the guys that got crushed, it still felt fun. Most of the matches felt competitive. There was something there. It wasn't just like, everybody was so much better than everybody else. Everybody felt pretty close. There was a couple matches that were just, people were getting smashed, but it felt fun. It didn't feel like anybody was just like not competitive, if that makes sense. Basically, I feel like the matchmaking itself was very good. Anyway, next, Mr. Artem, Mr. Artem himself. First time I met Artem was also at that South Carolina tournament. I think I briefly introduced myself. I don't think we really chatted very long, but he was doing some filming there, And Artem was looking. I think John had a clip. He was talking about how small some of these guys look in person. But I've seen Artem before. I think he was a little bit lighter for this match than he has been in the past. I didn't double check his what his weight was. Um, but I think he was cutting down. I'm not 100% sure on that for this match, looking a little bit looking smaller than at least I remember. And but Artem is really strong. I mean, if you've ever seen him pull at a tournament, I mean, he's no slouch. And so I really wasn't familiar with this other gentleman, but this I mean just crushed Artem. It was really a stellar performance. Crowd loved him. Crowd really enjoyed him. He held Artem. Looked out to the crowd and smiled and just kind of held him for a minute. Fun match. Fun match. Of course, you want to see the Americans pull out the win on the hometown heroes you want to see, but I think Artem put up a little bit of a fight. Just outstrengthed, outclassed there, but still a fun match. Of course, next we have here Mister Matt Mask and Mister Lars. Matt Mask looking he's really tall to see him in person. Really fun. I think this one. Let me check my notes here. Was 3-1, 3-1. So competitive. Lars got one, but Mask got hyped. Mask got hyped up. Had a good time. Fun match, a little bit more competitive. There's something there. Um, Not too much to say about that one. Nothing too interesting there. This next one was really cool. Justin versus Giannis. Fun, Funny thing happened to me. I don't. It was I think Giannis and Coach Ray. I was just going up to my hotel room, and Giannis and Coach Ray walked down the hall and got in the elevator with me, and I was kind of sitting there like, oh wow, okay. I didn't want to. I tried not to fanboy too much. I think the only picture I got at the event was with John. I really wanted a picture with John, but for me, just kind of seeing everybody else, I don't really need to go get a picture with everybody. But so, but that was kind of cool. I got to see them get in the elevator with me, and the jokes about Coach Ray being kind of short. I was like, oh yeah, well there you go. I got to see him in person. But Justin Bishop, a legend. And I was really hoping Justin would pull out the win. I felt like he had it. I wanted him to win, but Giannis was just kind of really smart on the table, and I think kind of wore him down a little bit, and just he couldn't quite finish. This was, I think the closest match, really. If I looking at my notes, it's the only one that was 3-2. So that was cool. If I remember correctly, Justin started out with the win. It was nice. It was good to see a close match. I wanted Justin to win. I mean, Justin's just great guy. Um, but it is what it is. I think that was one of the other few losses that we had, except for this next one we'll talk about here, Mister Paul Lynn. Just a hook match. It was good. Paul was fast and good off the start, and he would get him on in winning position, but it just seemed like he couldn't quite finish. Um, it's hard to say, of course, and it was close. I feel like Paul could have pulled it out. Maybe if it was done over, maybe could have gone the other direction. Um, but the other gentleman here, he was just a little bit stronger that day. But Paul Lynn looked good. He looked solid. He looked fast. Looked strong. I really think he could um, do something solid in another match with just about anybody else. So we'll see what's next for Mr. Paul Lynn. Dave Chafee. This was a really fun match. It's just good to see Dave win. Frank was it wasn't a total blowout necessarily. Frank had some moments where he kind of was pulling something out, and held him, slowed him down for a little bit. But Dave was just, it looked like old Dave, and that's what was really fun to me. just to see Dave just show up strong, fast, hit, just win. It's been tough for a little bit of a kind of a joke with Dave. Just sort of not really being able to win very many matches, but this one he pulled it out. I was really excited to see. And it was right around this match, Paul Lynn and the Dave Chafee match, where the crowd really started to get hyped up. It was these last couple matches. Let me tell you what, blew the roof off the place. So I'm going to get to that in just a second. We had the Michael Todd versus Camille match. Camille has just been killer, and Camille interest. I didn't realize how big Camille was. I guess I just never looked at this. I knew he was big, but man, I saw that man get out of the elevator. Oh my goodness! I think this card said he's weighing 282 pounds, just ginormous. I mean, really, in a in a in a class filled with really big guys, he is up there. I mean, he is really something. Really fast, Camille. I mean, I think there was. I was commenting. I was sitting there with my some of my training partners. We went up there, and you could see one of his flop presses. He went into it, and they did a slow mo replay on the screen, and it was like 6 frames. I cannot believe how fast this guy moved. It was like a sixth of a second, and he was down inches from the pin pad. How fast, how big, and how strong he was crazy. Which to me makes this win with Michael Todd so much more impressive. Michael Todd was looking big. I think I've seen Michael Todd pictures. He was looking stout. He was looking bigger than I've seen him. I know he goes up and down a lot from some of his Instagram that I've seen, but he was looking solid. I mean, his arms were looking big. He was just looking just in general. He was looking very very stout. It was kind of funny. People were talking. He tucked his beard into his shirt, which was kind of fun. I think people were kind of getting a little chuckle out of that. But Michael Todd, he was getting hyped, and the first hit came, and Michael caught him, and I mean the place went electric. And Michael Todd gets a lot of flack for the Kings move. To me, I mean that this match was really clean. He didn't drop his arm below parallel at all. He was just solid, holding them, smiling, looking at the camera, just kind of really. You saw him climbing high on the hand. Um, he really didn't get too close to the pin pad at all. I mean, I think he was about his head probably 2 inches. And during the second match, he won the first two on fouls, but I don't think he needed them, especially during the second match. Like if he didn't, if Camille didn't foul out, I really think Michael would have just got the pin from burning him out eventually. And you saw that during the second match as he kind of started to hold him more towards center. He started to bring him back towards center. The first one he was very wide open, but the second round, he started kind of bringing it back to center. But that third match, we nobody saw it coming. Nobody was ready. We were kind of waiting for another grinder of a match, and Michael Todd out of nowhere flash pins Camille, and the place goes crazy. I mean, the place just loses their mind, and that was, I mean, to me, I was talking to my friend. I was like, "This is what I wanted to be here in a room full of people that were going crazy, so excited to see what was going on." And like I was saying, these last kind of couple matches, really the Michael Todd, really the Dave Chafee match, the tone was shifting. We were getting hyped up for, of course, these next couple matches coming up, but that Michael Todd match really, we had been there a while. It was already kind of running late, but we were feeling the energy with that Michael Todd match. That flash pin, just everybody was going crazy. The chants, the hype, the USA chants, just everybody was having a great time. Really, really fun match that Michael Todd match was. Fantastic. All right, so last four here. I am going to do the John Brzenk match last. Although the Jerry Alex match was the last. I think they did it that way. It was just because it was more of like trying to get a title shot at Levon. Basically, I think that's why it was last. I'm not 100% sure. Um, I do think if I was doing it, I would put the John vs. Inc. match last. I mean I kind of understand why the Jerry Alex match was last. I mean, not that people don't like Jerry and Alex, not that it wasn't a great match, but it's John Brzenk. He's going to get the biggest applause. Everybody's going to want to see him, you know. So I understand. For me, I would put it last. I mean, to me, that was there's no way to tell, but absolutely was the match of the night. Close second, I think, was the Michael Todd and Camille match. I was saying that was going to be the match of the night until I saw the John Brzenk match. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a second. Actually, I think I'm trying to remember when the Chance versus Devin match. I think it was right before the Michael Todd match. Actually, I'll go ahead and talk about that before I get to these last four, and particularly these last three. The Chance Shaw versus Devin Larratt match. It was a lot of comments on it. And my thoughts are, I kind of agree with both. I kind of agree with both sides of it. So on the one hand, everybody kind of understood, at least I think, to me, it was just a fun match. It was just something fun. Neither of them were taking it too seriously, and it was just kind of trying to be entertaining, right? I mean, nobody's thinking this was a serious, somebody's trying to get a title shot here match, right? Chance was showing up big and heavy. I think Devin was 230 or 220. He was looking real white. It's funny. I was there with my buddy, and he was saying, "Man, I've seen Devin online. He's looking a lot smaller. He just looks a lot smaller in person." And he does kind of have that hunched over look, but just in general, he's a lot leaner than he's been. Really, really lean. Still super strong. I mean, it's not like he wasn't incredibly powerful or anything, but it was just a fun match. I think to me that was the goal. It's just trying to be entertaining. Chance Shaw came out to the "I Am a Gummy Bear" song and was eating gummy bears, and then Devin Larratt picked up the gummy bears he spilt and ate them off the floor. You know, um, and Bart Wood was reffing, and it's just some shenanigans, and everybody was expecting that. Everybody kind of knew that was happening. It didn't get too crazy. Again, I mean, the only real negative thing you can say is just shenanigans, and it's taken too long, and this isn't really good arm wrestling. To me, none of the other matches had that, right? To me, the other matches, these were all the other high level matches. The refs were good. Nobody was really complaining or anything. Everybody was. It went pretty quick. That's the other thing I'll say about those other matches. This is the only match that dragged, felt slow, and I mean that's just kind of what you expect. I mean, you understand it's going to take a good amount of time. Devin's going to fight in the setup. Chance did good. He kind of fought back and played. He got that one kind of questionable foul. Um, to me, I understand. I get why you could have called it that way or called it the other way. Was Chance going sideways? To me, it kind of looked like he was going sideways, and Devin retreated back. Was it a push? Maybe, sure. Was it intentional? Maybe, possibly. It's hard to say. Didn't get a pin. Chance got a one win on him, but it was fun. It was a little bit slow. There was a little bit of his shenanigans, but I think if you take it as that's what it was trying to be, it wasn't trying to be a serious arm wrestling match like all these other matches were. Then I think you can just kind of enjoy it for that, right? Because none of the other matches. That's something else. Reffing was great. None of these other matches had that going on. They were all real good to the refs. Refs were real solid, quick. Couple of matches were a little slow. Slip, foul, get the strap, whatever. Pretty much some of these matches didn't get the strap at all. They were just quick, just bam, knocked it out. fighting in the setup a little bit, but just generally pretty quick. Right, but I think if you take that Chance Shaw Devin Lair match just as a fun, kind of just different, entertaining, you know, match, almost like how some of these YouTubers and strength guys just kind of come. People say they haven't earned their spot. Well, they're not trying for a title shot, right? They're just there. They're having fun. They enjoy the sport. They bring some visibility. It's just if you just enjoy it, right? That's my philosophy. Just have a good time, relax. A lot of people on the internet, arm wrestling internet folks, they get real up in arms about things and the sanctity of the sport. And to me, I've always liked John Brzezink's quote. I think he did it in an interview with Ryan Bowen. He's like, I just got into arm wrestling for something to do. It's fun. His dad did it. It's just enjoyable. You like the competition. And to me, a lot of the guys I pull with, a lot of the people who are in clubs who arm wrestle regularly, they have this mindset. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. If you're going to go to a tournament and argue with the refs, and everything's so serious, it's like you can be really competitive. Yeah, we love being competitive, but it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna go to work tomorrow. I'm not trying to go out there and break my arm for this win or anything. At least not me. I'm not good enough. If I was pulling for $1 million, maybe. But so I think just that was just a fun match. Some of these kind of YouTube matches are just they're just meant to be fun. Just take them as that. You know, was it the best of sportsmanship and all that sort of no. I mean the whole Artem thing, seeing that live was really interesting because Jevin was just kind of going over there and it seemed like he was just kind of goofing around and Artem was smiling a little bit I think during the whole encounter. So no, but I don't think anybody meant anything by it. It was just kind of just something that happened. Should it have happened? Maybe not. Was it funny? Kinda. But that's that. Take it for what you want. Hate it, love it. I thought it was fine. It was an interesting match to watch. Watching Chance's style, kind of holding them a little bit. Devin, hitting, doing his thing. It was fun to watch. It was a fun match. All right, but the next the next match here, Travis versus Corey. Travis Bajent, getting hyped. It was Corey got hyped too, man. It was just really fun to watch him walk out and he jumped on the stage. And I mean, I feel like I could have felt that thing shake from way back in my seat. I mean, he jumped up there and yelled, and of course had Michael Todd over there in his corner. But Travis looking strong. Um, Corey's just really strong, and I feel like he's getting better. He's getting stronger. He's getting faster. He's getting more technical. Um, I really want to see him climb the ranks. I can't remember. I can't remember who he pulled last, but I think it was a loss, or he's had some losses. Was it King of the Table East versus West? I'd have to double check, but it's just we haven't had a good opportunity to see how good Corey West is, um, because he's got the tools, he's got the power, he's got the strength, he's getting where he needs to be. Travis, I mean, people, you want to see Travis win. Um, you want to, I mean, you want to see Corey win. They're both, pretty popular USA guys. Travis winning would just be kind of, it would have been more. I guess it would have been more unexpected, and in that sense, would have been pretty cool to see in that sense. Not that I necessarily wanted one to win over the other. It would just been if we're taking Travis as the underdog to see Travis win, right? Travis gave him a little bit of something. There was a moment there he almost had something, but Corey was just stronger. But it was a really fun match, really hype. Everybody enjoyed it. Uh, cool to see Travis come out there and put on a show. I think I think there's something there for Travis. I don't know. It's hard for me to say what he needs to do to get back. If it's just a strength thing, he just has been out of it for too long. He can go hard. He's got good lifts and he's beaten certain people. So it's tough to say. I don't know if it's what exactly could get him to that back to his old form or close to it. Not necessarily that he's going to go back to his prime or anything, but something kind of close to it would be interesting to see. Okay, these last three matches here, great, 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 awesome matches. Yeah, the whole card was great, but these last three were, oh man. I mean, Prudnik walked out, Todd walked out, place was going crazy. Um, it was it wasn't super close. It was close. If Gidney had something, he was holding them for a bit. But Todd just, Uncle Todd just going to town, putting in the work, side pressure king, you know, kind of that losing his wrist sideways move he's got. Absolutely fantastic. 3-0, very dominant performance. Um, Absolutely incredible. Really, really hyped. And it was this match, right? John was up next, which again, I'm going to talk about him last, but people were really feeling the energy at this point. The room was just, I mean, you could really feel it in the room. Not just the fact that it was nearly 100 degrees in there, but you could really feel the energy with this match. Everybody was super, super excited. So we're going to get into these last two matches here in just a second. All right, these last two matches. So the Jobbers Inc. match was second, but I want to talk about that match last, just because it was, I would say, without a doubt, the match of the night. The Jerry and Alex match, Mr. Kadecha. Alex Kadecha is so. First of all, Jerry's big. Jerry's a huge guy, right? Kadecha is just bigger. I mean, he is so big. I think he was 6'7", if I remember right. I could double check that. And his card said he was 330 pounds, and he looked all 330 pounds of that 330. I mean, he was looking absolutely massive. I mean, just towering over the table. And I mean, to me, Alex came in with the right approach. He was really trying to crowd the center of the table, not let Jerry access his flop press, not let Jerry go where he wanted to go. Um, but I mean, Jerry was just scary. I think I saw a post online talking about how healthy Jerry is scary, and he is. I mean, he is dominant. To me, it wasn't super close. I really think Jerry was just on top of his game, healthy, and if I remember right, the last press he didn't even flop. It wasn't even in the straps. He just kept his wrist cupped, which is like, you know, not something Jerry's known for doing. I mean, Jerry just typically just wants to go under, flop or get the strap, go in the strap and press. But here, he didn't even need it, which is crazy to me. Just how strong he is at that point. I think that's something people aren't really talking about. People are talking about how, the Levon call out. Has he earned it? I would say, yeah, he's definitely earned it. Um, and people are talking about, Levon just having the right strength and the right angles to take on Jerry. And Levon is certainly a beast. I'm not necessarily saying Jerry would win, but I definitely think it would be a little more competitive than people might give Jerry credit. I mean, seeing that pin without having to go on the straps, to me, um, is really saying something. Seeing him go just straight through Kardashian, even with his size, crowding the center of the table, um, really speaks to Jerry's strength. I think so. Who do I think would win, Levon or Jerry? Probably Levon. Probably, I think, but I do think Jerry might have more than people are thinking he would have for Levon. And of course, I mean, I would love to see. I'd love to see Jerry win. I think that'd be really cool. Not that I don't like Levon, right? I mean, Levon's great, but yeah, I'm Team USA. I mean, what can I say? I got um, so I think that's going to be something to see. I don't know when they're planning on doing that necessarily, but I think that's something to look forward to. The last match, well, not the last match of the night, but the last match I'm going to cover, of course, is this John versus Leonidas. I'm going to click on this for a second. John versus Leonidas. Um, this was the match of the night. I don't think anybody would really disagree with that. The Michael Todd match was a second, but I don't think it was a close second. When you want to talk about hype, when you want to talk about people getting excited, this was the match that everybody was talking about. I was really privileged to get a little opportunity to talk to John the day before. Got a picture with him. He's saying he was feeling strong. He seemed really confident. A lot of times he talks about kind of I'm getting older, and he talked to me. He's kind of, his mindset is very much longevity, trying not to get hurt. I mean, 60 years old. Um, but he did kind of have a little aura of confidence about him that I think he wasn't. He led on to it, I think, a little bit in the press conference. Um, but he was something was different. I kind of was sensing he was anticipating a solid performance. He was feeling healthy. He wasn't saying like, oh, okay, I've got such and such going on. He was like, no, I'm healthy. I'm ready to go. Um, Leonidas, from what I heard, was a favorite in my mind. I mean, I'm not betting against John Brzenk. I mean, I understand why people would think Leonidas might have a bit of an advantage. Weighing 270, I think he was. Just a solid guy. When you think about how what was it, Camille against Michael Todd is 282, and Leonidas is 270, and a good bit shorter than Camille. I mean, he's just solid. I mean, Leonidas is really a strong guy. I mean, nobody's gonna say he's not an incredibly muscular, incredibly strong guy. And so I think people were saying that Leonidas was going to just kind of be able to hook in and go through John, and that very much was his approach, was to kind of go into a hook. It would seem, and the first match was kind of close. John kept it a little closer to center, kept his wrist, just a solid pin. But the last two matches, oh my goodness! I mean, when I tell you, first of all, when I tell you that place was on their feet, that whole match, John got, I think it was close to a 2 minute standing ovation just on his walkout. He walked out to ACDC's Thunderstruck, and I mean the audience was just clapping along to Thunderstruck, and they didn't stop until they had walked up to the table. They were getting ready to start the match. I mean, everybody was just on their feet, losing their minds, screaming. The USA chant. I think at the end of this match was the best of the night. But that first match was just a sort of a clean win, but everyone was kind of going, oh, I don't know, Leonidas just got something. Leonidas, would get him over, would kind of get him to his side of the table a little bit. He was. They're both fast. Not necessarily that Leonidas was a little bit faster. He just had a little bit more that he got his spot. But John is really strong. I mean, and that kind of outside, his top roll is so famous. His thumb, the thumb, the wrist. I mean, that's what John's known for. But the second match, he was outside. He was outside. He was very much in a kind of a what to most people would kind of be a dangerous position, kind of that outside, near losing position spot. But when I think it was the second match, when he threw him into the hook during that second match, for that brief moment they were in the hook, oh my goodness, everybody, I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. And when he flop pressed for that second match, that first time he flop pressed, I mean, everybody's mouth was on the floor. We couldn't believe it. And you heard Travis, I think it was the second or third match Travis was commentating, and he mentioned, he's like, John can do any move. He's been pulling for so long, he can do everything. But out of the however many thousands and thousands of matches he's pulled, I think Travis is kind of, I don't know if it was literal or joking, said, I've only seen him do this 6 times. And it's true. I mean, John never, I can't think of any notable matches. And I've watched a good, he's pressed. He's pressed before, but like a flop press? Committing to a flop press is just so unlike John. And from that position, too. I I can't think if I have I train with somebody, and he can, we say he can flop press from anywhere, and I've seen him kind of from a losing position. If especially if he's a lot stronger than the other person, can just press from anywhere on the table. But seeing John do that was just crazy, because I mean that's not his style. And then the third match, when he was really in losing position. I mean, he was probably an inch or two from the pin pad. I think maybe 2 inches. His wrist was compromised, losing position, all the way stretched out for a good 5-6 seconds. Throws his shoulder up, presses all the way through. The crowd loses their mind. USA, USA. Everybody's going crazy. I mean, like, you can't beat that. I mean, you just cannot beat that to me. That was absolutely electric. I mean, that was worth the price of admission alone. That match, because everybody wants to see John win. In my mind, who wants to see John lose? I mean, it's just like you want to see the guy pull out the W. So those are all of the matches that were there during the event. Um, Again, I mean, just a solid card, super solid card. Great to see a lot of guys there that I knew. So, I mean, shout out to my team. About half my team was there. Um, our guys showed up. Ryan competed. He did pretty good, so we're excited for him to do good. Cut a lot of weight to compete in the tournament. Got to see Ron. Ron again. Always good to see Ron. Maybe he'll come hang out with us again sometime soon. Come to one of our practices. Great to see Mr. Rick Layton. Shout out to him. He told me I need to give him a call. I probably do. I haven't been able to see. I always go to tournaments, and I'm hoping to see him sometime soon. But great to see all those guys. Saw a couple of the guys I'd known, bumped into before. But it was just really a wonderful experience, a great atmosphere, and if they do it in America again, which I really think they will, especially with the success of this event, I would love to see probably 2 things, maybe 2 or 3 things. One, I'd love to see a card as stacked as this one. Um, the matchmaking on this one was just incredible. I've seen King of the Tables and East versus West, and sometimes there's kind of those 1 or 2 matches you're like, I'm not super familiar with those guys. I don't. Not that it's not entertaining to watch. It's just you don't have as much interest as like those 1 or 2 headlining matches. To me, every match on this card was worth watching. Every single match was phenomenal in my mind. There was not a single match I was like, man, okay, this is kind of just okay. Every match was at least great or better. Um, so that's the one thing I want to see. The second thing I would love to see is a First of all, a venue with a little better AC. I don't know if that's just the hotel's fault or if it was just that many people in the room, but a bigger venue. I would love to see a bigger venue. I think you could. I think people will come. I mean, people were flying in, people were driving down. Florida's a good spot. Maybe another more central location um, would be as good as well. Um, there's a lot of guys with Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama. We've got a lot of good arm wrestling in the southeast. A lot of people will show up. A lot of good venues anywhere you want to look. Even right here in our area. But Florida, I mean, Florida's a good spot. I just, I would pick something with some working AC or working better, and a bigger venue because that it was packed, basically standing room only. There's just people standing around the edge of the venue. So to me that would be better. I think it'd be really cool to have 2,000 people show up. I really do think you could pack to probably 2,000 people. I really think you could get close because we were. I don't know what the actual ticket sales were because I think it was so it's like 700 tickets and then like 50 to 100 special VIP tickets. So it was 800 plus the competitors. It was close to 1,000. I really think it might have been 1,000 people in that room, or close to it, really close to it. I think you could get 2,000 people. I really do think you could get 2,000 people if you have the capacity and the tickets available. And to me, that would just be incredible. So those are my thoughts on East versus West 14. If you were there, comment, share your thoughts, tell us what you think. I look forward to hearing what other people have to say. I'm really looking forward to the matches coming out on the YouTube channel, to just kind of watch them again and see it from a different see it from this perspective of the camera. Because of course, when you're up there on the camera, you can really get close and really see what was going on. But of course, experiencing it live to me was very special. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this little discussion about East vs. West 14. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Absolutely would absolutely do it again. Would love to go whenever and wherever they do the next one in America. Um, Super excited. So thank you all for watching, and let me know what y'all thought of the event as well.